What's going on, guys? So who would have thought that after I purchased this little E-Series cargo trailer from CargoMate, I think I paid like 4,500 bucks. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but I bought it about maybe a year ago-ish. Who would have thought that it would have spurred all of these projects from different people around the world to do something similar? So I did a lot of work to this trailer. Most of it I just paid for myself, but eTrailer, my channel sponsor, also chipped in quite a bit of stuff for this. But I wanted to go over it, show you how it's holding up, because we use this trailer multiple times each week. This is my most used trailer I have, and yeah, we use the heck out of it. So hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, so we're gonna start from the front, work our way back, and kind of go over some of the specs of this thing, but let's take a look at the numbers real quick. Got a little beetle here struggling. All right, so this has a gross vehicle weight rating of 2,990 pounds, has a cargo capacity of about 1,600 pounds. So I've replaced the tires, I've replaced the wheels, I've replaced a lot of stuff on this, and we'll kind of go over it and the condition that everything's in. So up front, we have our power front tongue jack. Now real quick, this front tongue jack was actually supplied to me about 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, by the folks from Ultrafab. This was to showcase two of their tongue jacks. One of them is on my other cargo trailer, which is super, super fast. It has a 4,500 pound capacity. That thing will drop down and raise up so quick. It's almost like it's hydraulic. It's insane how fast that is. I think it's the fastest electric tongue jack available on the market, probably in the world. This is the 5500 series, so this has like 1,000 more pounds worth of capacity. It's pretty quick. It's quicker than any other tongue jack I've had besides that one, but it's not nearly as quick as that one. It's probably half the speed, but it still raises and lowers very quickly. Kind of give you an example. Not that you really need a power front tongue jack on this trailer, because you could probably even muscle it up by hand if it's not loaded. But once you load this thing down, especially if the weight is up front, certainly helps and it makes things a lot quicker. But what's nice about it is it has the memory feature. It also has a wireless remote control, which I've misplaced. But you can set two memory functions, so whenever you decouple or couple, you can remember those specific locations, and you have the ability for it to return there, and you can move around and do all the other things you need to do. I use it quite often whenever I am done with the trailer, and I just want to drop the tongue jack all the way down so I can keep the front low. But very, very handy, super powerful. This tongue jack has the ability to actually lift that trailer's entire weight dry. That's how strong it is. Actually more than that, it's probably a couple thousand pounds greater than that even. So that's the first little upgrade we've done. Next one is this really cool PowerArmor Box from the folks over at Torklift. This has a solar panel on top. This was a sponsored item, by the way. This actually charges a battery that's inside of here, which is super cool. And it has a lock on it right here. So I don't have the battery box in here connected to the 7-way. Actually, it's a 4-way, but I don't have it connected there. And because I don't have it connected there, and because this trailer does not need trailer brakes because of its size, there's really no way for me to maintain the battery on here for the tongue jack or the lights that are inside. So the way I decided to do it was to use solar, and it's worked exceptionally well. I've had no problems with that battery dying on me. And it's an old AGM battery that I purchased a long time ago, actually for that trailer, before we put a big solar setup on it. Coming around, not much on the exterior. This is the color that we got it in. It's pretty much what they had available, but I actually like the fact that they had it in this color because it's pretty catchy. Anyways, we upgraded the wheels. These were provided by eTrailer. Really nice wheels, nice black lug nuts. And the tires I put on, I purchased these tires. They were about $125 each. These are Transeagle tubeless all steel radial tires. These are 225, 75, 15. Very difficult to find a G-rated tire for a 15-inch wheel. I know more brands are making them now, but this is one that's kind of been out there for a while. It's been trusted. A lot of folks have it. It's a rib design up here. It's not bolted out right here, so don't think that it's worn down. This is just a rib design. Still pretty much all of its tread life left. Each one of these tires has more than enough capacity to be able to support the entire weight of this trailer completely loaded. That's how strong they are. You do want to make sure that you inflate them properly to the rim specification. These rims can go up to a maximum of 80 PSI. These tires can go up to like 110 PSI. But based on how we plan on using it, or how we do use it, and the load that will actually be under, we don't need to put it at that high, so we keep them at 80 PSI. trailer already came with all LED lighting. It also came with these little stands on the back to kind of stabilize it if you're loading something, so you don't have to worry about the front coming off the ground. Honestly, whenever we load it up, it's hitched up to the truck, so I've never had to use them. All right, so here's where all the labor and magic went into it. I made a whole series talking about this. This material right here was actually provided for a different project a long time ago from the folks over at Lippert, and I held on to it because it was scrap material that I had. This is their actual toy hauler gate cover, and it has kind of a felt style backing to it. It adhered very, very well, and it's not bubbling up, it's not coming off at all. I really like this. I put this aluminum channel around it that I got over at Lowe's, and you know, it turned out really nice. Looks really, really good back here. I continued it onto this little back flap, which basically lowers the approach angle if you're loading something on. You know, going inside, this material is actually more like a rubber material. The backing of it is pretty much the same as this side, except it's smooth. And I used the same 3M adhesive. I think it was the 80 or 90 series adhesive, which is their strongest adhesive, that I used here. The difference was this never really stuck well. And, you know, thankfully we were putting this etrack system down, and the etrack is essentially holding it in place, but it really didn't stick too well. And I'm not too impressed with how it actually adhered. If anything would hold it, I imagine the 3M 80 or 90 high strength adhesive would. And it just didn't do a good job. But the etrack certainly is holding it down. Now, from a durability perspective, I've had absolutely no problems with anything scratching it, damaging it, tearing it, nothing. It's very, very strong material. It's rubber, it's pretty thick, works well, it rolled out well, it was easy to install. Just keep in mind, it did not adhere very well. And part of it may be the humidity we have here, part of it may be the heat that we have down here. If you're in a different climate, it may work a little better. You may want to use a different type of adhesive, maybe a roll-on style. But something I did that I think is also very important is whenever this was just wood, I sealed all the spaces between the lumber for the floor. The reason for that is as you're driving down the road, air is going to force its way underneath this material and cause it to bubble, and you want to seal that up. So I went over it with silicone before I put this down. Let's see what else. I know some folks said I installed these backwards, which I know I did, but we don't really use it that much. I mean, honestly, I've never used these corner tie downs. I always use the etrack that we put in place, but I'll flip them around at some point. The interior walls were painted. I paid to have that done. I think it turned out really good. There were a few really strange spots, like right over here where it looks like it's lighter until you walk next to it, and it's really because of the grain of the wood creating a shadow at certain angles, and it makes it look like it's lighter or like it didn't, you know, properly cover it, but in fact it did. You can see all the etrack up here. We have different holders right here for brooms, whatever we want to put in here, shovels. I have this little thing that I have here for any little pieces or parts that I need to throw in there. Turned out really, really good, you know. Again, I put the channel all the way around here, put a channel iron right here, all the way around the edge. You can kind of see how I cut it around the edges here. But what's interesting is, again, this spurred so many of my viewers to go out and get cargo trailers or to modify the cargo trailers that they had. There's actually another YouTube channel, I think it's called Bigfoot Dad Explores Montana. I think that's what it is. Really, really great channel. Did a collaboration a while back with him where we featured one of his videos on my channel. It was basically a review of his RV. Has a really, really great editing. Hilarious content creator, and definitely want to check his channel out. But he actually purchased something like this, and he shot me a message saying that he wanted to kind of do this. And then I had probably a total of about 10 other folks who sent me pictures of cargo trailers, the same material, the same etrack, all the same stuff, because they were inspired by the trailer that we have here because of the little project I did. And you know, we weren't perfect with everything when we painted. We got some overspray in areas. You know, I understand this is a pretty low-cost trailer, but again, because of the frequency and how often we use this, it's one of my most important trailers. If we pick up furniture, if I have to pick up anything that just needs to be protected, even if it's you know, something electric, or if we're clearing out an office or a home, I mean, we have used this thing so much. And then we've thrown bags of, you know, mulch and concrete and stuff back here as well, just because it was with us, it was available, and we didn't have to carry so much that it would overload the trailer at all. It tows really easily behind my truck or my wife's Expedition. My father has a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and it tows perfectly behind that. My neighbor even borrowed it, and he has a Sierra, a GMC Sierra half-ton truck, and it towed perfectly behind that. A very, very easy trailer to tow. What's really nice, again, I pointed this out earlier, is the fact that you just really don't have to be too concerned about possibly having a tire blowout or having an issue like that. You'd probably be more concerned with an axle failing because the tires are just so robust. And, you know, it's just a really, really handy trailer. It's come in really, really handy for just about every project we've used it for. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We've had no problems with this thing at all. The only thing I wish I could change, and I really don't want to have to do this, I want to replace this front coupler because it was rusted like this when I got it, but I want to replace this with an auto latching front coupler. I can't really do the upgrade without cutting this off and welding a new one on. I got a neighbor who could probably do it for me, but it's not as easy as you'd think. You almost have to cut into the A-frame rails right here because this is all welded completely around. So cutting through that is a pretty messy job, and then installing it back on correctly is also kind of a messy job. And before I forget, my neighbor who's done so many other welding projects for me, well, I paid him to build this really cool little battery box right here. He used channel iron. He used expanded steel. Turned out really good. Thing is rock solid. We hit it with some high temp black paint, and that thing has been holding up absolutely great. We undercoated it. We've done a lot of little things to it. Overall, total investment in this trailer has probably been, I'm going to say, about $2,000. Maybe $1,500 to $2,000 total if you added up the cost of everything. Now, sponsored products, things that were provided at no charge, probably about $600 to $700 worth. The front tongue jack, the battery box, the wheels, and some of the etrack inside were really the main things. Everything else was purchased out of pocket. Everything else I got either off of Amazon or I purchased from different places. But this thing is just a really, really cool project. And if you have something like this, even if you spend like $4 grand on it and you have to put some more money into it, if it makes you feel good and if it makes it more useful to you, it makes you use it more and makes you more confident whenever you are using it, I think it's a win. But what do you guys think? I mean, how many of you have started little trailer projects based off of some of the things we did here? I'd love to know, because yeah, I've gotten no less than 10 emails from folks with pictures of their trailers just showing me what they've done to them. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll throw some links in the description of this video if some of the things that we did on here are things you might be interested in. And remember, I made a whole series on this trailer and the upgrades that we did. So go back, look up the trailer build that we did, and I think you'll be inspired if you are looking to do something similar. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.